Second hour of halftime on this gorgeous Friday in Branson, Missouri at the Ballparks of America complex. It's the home of the Babe Ruth League Cal Ripken 70 Majors World Series. And continue to watch Ohio and Alabama play. And these guys that run the music know what they're doing. They're playing Sweet Home Alabama because the Mobile team is coming to bat. You hear the voice in the background, Drew Barrett, Phil Elson, Matty T, and Gary Matthews, the Sarge, joining us. Longtime major leaguer, former All-Star Rookie of the Year, and a guy you love Babe Ruth baseball through and through, don't you?
Well, I actually grew up Babe Ruth baseball in California, San Fernando Valley. So it's been a big part of my life, and one of the reasons I was able to play in Major League Baseball and growing up, and it's been great, been good.
You know, I mean, this is not. You don't live here. You don't live anywhere near here. So I mean, you came to Branson specifically for this tournament, and you do this on an annual basis.
Oh yeah, I was here in the embryo stages, going way back when we brought it in from Aberdeen, Maryland, where Cal Ripken actually lives. I don't have to put up with him anymore, with him telling me how they beat us in the '83 World Series. But him and Billy and his dad in particular were very involved with that. And that's how this tournament really actually started. His dad did a lot of work growing up, clinics and those kind of things. He was giving back a long time ago. And to have Cal and Billy kind of go right in his footsteps. They've done a lot for amateur sports, and they know how important it is, not only just the baseball part of it, but just growing up to be a real man. It's been great.
Now, I didn't realize that Cal Ripken baseball is named for Cal Ripken Senior, not Junior. I mean, I know Cal Ripken Senior, who was a longtime coach and manager and everything, but this organization started as it was called Bigger Little League, I think, in order to let everybody know that they were playing on longer baselines and bigger distance between the pitcher's mound and home plate, then changed to Babe Ruth League in the 50s, and then it became Cal Ripken Baseball in the 90s. But it's Cal Ripken Senior that it's named for.
Oh, absolutely, too. And this is more authentic in terms of leading off. You get some terrific play with the guys that come in, 12-year-olds, and they look really a lot larger than 12-year-olds.
You're not kidding.
But I love the home run contest that the guys have, and particularly it's just a great event that they have here. And more importantly, though, the kids that come in, very, very respectful with each other. As far as in New Zealand, we've had teams that have come in, and you know, Mexico seems to always have a good representation, and those guys hit the ball. I mean, they hit the ball like real men.
Oh, yeah.
They really do.
Well, we were getting the tour earlier today of all the facilities, different stadiums around here. Saw a team all the way from Hawaii there. The Puerto Rico was on a field, I think the Chicago field a little bit earlier. So the youth baseball has grown so tremendously in the last 30, 40 years. But you grew up playing Babe Ruth baseball. What was one of your favorite memories from just growing up in Babe Ruth and playing youth baseball?
Well, at the time and playing, I mean, one of the few times that I didn't tell the truth when they asked me how old I was. I said 10, and I was only 8 at the time, so you had to be 10 to be able to play. But again, getting your start, you know, along with the boys in the girls club, you know, I mean, I don't know where I would have been without those facilities, but growing up in California, we played year-round. We were able to play during the winter just because of the weather. But having these kind of facilities, I didn't get a chance to play on these kind of turf fields when I was playing on them. They were like all cement. But this is more like real grass. The kids can slide on it. If it rains, more importantly, they're able to play on it with the drainage.
Well, and one of the coolest things about this is that the kids live at the ballpark while they're here. You know what it was like when if you lived at the ballpark, something was wrong. Guys did live in clubhouses in minor league teams that I worked for.
Sure.
That didn't mean that they wanted to. This is totally different.
Yeah, totally different. And, again, it's in particularly the traveling teams. That's a commitment for the parents, dollar-wise as well. But, again, it makes them, I think, the better players because they can see where they are competition-wise. And ballparks of America, I mean, you're not going to find better facilities. I've gone to the one in Pigeon Forge there in the Smokies, just gorgeous. But this area where kids, where you can bring your family, and they don't have to just be here at the ballpark. They can see the game and be able to go out. It's a terrific, terrific place for the families. Just a lot to do here. And the people that actually took over, every year when I come here, something else has been done that has beautified this area, and they're doing a doggone good job.
Sarge, you played in the 70s and the 80s in the major leagues, and you come from a different era from the way the game was played, the way it was managed, the way it was coached. But you are an old school guy. You are here to watch youth baseball, which means to me that you've got a connection between the way that you were taught and maybe even the way that these kids are taught too. They've got to be coached a lot differently than you were as a kid. But what do you think about the style of play in youth baseball and how that translates to what we want to see in professional baseball?
Well, you know what? It's been great. And the thing I've always said from a hitting standpoint, you want to be a good hitting coach, have good hitters. And these kids are really good athletes. They're good hitters. Their technique is really the way that it should be. And by them playing so many games and the competition makes them really a better athlete. And then it does transform because the guys you see here that are all-stars will be all-stars when you go to that next level, drafted, etc.
Oh, definitely. And, Phil just talked about the difference in just not just youth baseball, but in baseball in general, especially at the major league level from where you played to now where it is with analytics, launch angles, and all these other different things. Do you kind of wish it would get back to where it used to be, or do you like the evolution of baseball and the long ball really dominating baseball the way it does?
I don't like the low averages, guys hitting 200, etc. Again, I've always thought it was a team effort. I mean, I'd like to get back to a leadoff hitter stealing 40, 50 bases, or the first two guys in the lineup scoring 100 runs. But it's sexy to be able to hit home runs. But you have guys like we do in Philly, Bryce Harper, that's able to do both. Soto that's traded over there to San Diego, and you can name anybody just about with the Dodgers and the New York or both New York teams. I mean, what's better than seeing Judd come up? I mean, he'll keep you from going to the bathroom to see him go up there and hit because he can take you out and way out at any moment. Yeah, I like that, but Judd is a different hitter. He puts the fear in a lot of those pitchers because you make a mistake, it's out of the ballpark. The smaller guys need to concentrate, personally for me, more line drives, gap hitters, working the count. I mean, I couldn't imagine you taking first pitch fastball off of Bob Gibson, say.
Right.
You won't get that back.
No, that's for sure. Gary Matthews Senior joining us here on Halftime. The Sarge, 877-377-6963. What hitting coach had the biggest influence upon you?
Without a doubt, Hank Sauer. Used to be with the Giants a long time ago. He also had George Foster, Gary Maddox, Dave Kingman, Jack the Ripper. We came under his guidance. All of us would not be the same without him. He also had a lot to do with Bobby Bonds back there. So my instruction in coming up, the one thing I thought was the easiest part of the game was the hitting part of it. But then when you grow up with Mays in the organization and McCovey, you learn right away the respect, but also the hard work and what it takes just to be able to maintain.
You played for some great managers throughout your career, and I think of Pat Corrales, I think Dallas Green, Bobby Cox. Did you also play for Ted Turner? Because I know in 1977 you were a Brave. Turner managed one game.
Yeah, and I think I forget the commissioner's name, called down and told him to get out of the dugout. Ted felt that he could do what the manager at that time, I think it was Dave Bristow, he said I could be as good as him. I remember like it was yesterday because Ted didn't even know how they put on the stirrups on his socks.
He was a sailor. He wasn't a ball player.
I got it to one of the guys that in my life was had a lot to do with the shaping and so on. But, in terms of, again, manager, Dallas Green is great, but John McNamara was the type of manager that really puts you in the lineup and lets you kind of manage your own game from, the hit and run to, and in my career, I hit third in just about all the lineups I was in, except for when we played All-Star game in Japan and Dave Parker was on the team and Bill Matlock. I led off on that particular team.
You're talking my guy. I'm from Pittsburgh. Those were my guys growing up.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I was a Pittsburgh Pirate killer, but we'll talk about that another.
I won't hold you. I won't hold it against you 30 years later.
With Bibby and Candelaria. God, those guys were huge.
They were big. That's right.
Oh my gosh, they were just big, and we had some battles when I was with the Phillies with those guys.
You sure did. I want to close on a thought of baseball's place. We had the Field of Dreams game yesterday, and that generates a lot of eyes because of the nostalgia. You played in an era, I think, of when baseball was probably its most popular, even though the NFL might have surpassed it at that time. 70s and 80s, baseball was incredibly popular and still was watched coast to coast on a really a week-by-week basis. It's a little bit different now. Do you fear for baseball's place in American sport, or do you think it's going to be okay?
Not when you see events like the one at Baseball America going on. You know that it's in good hands, and keep in mind they have a lot of family members. A lot of them are going to go on to college, and then you have your following. It has a ways to go because of the unpopularity a lot of times of the money, but if we're talking about sports that kind of really turn you off. I used to be a huge basketball fan growing up in the area of L.A., but when you see what's going on today where guys want to be on just the same team, don't want to play half the time, that to me is a problem, taking off games, etc. But I think it's in good hands, again, when you see not only the popularity of baseball, how about softball? Mm-hmm. Look how popular that's getting. So that will all translate, again, into, I think, the game being strong, for sure.
Well, it's a real thrill meeting you and talking baseball with you, and we didn't expect that this would happen, so
this is definitely a treat.
Well, if you're here every year, I am as well, so God willing, we'll be seeing you guys next year.
Hopefully, and I'll bug you about the '83 World Series next time because I'm a lifelong Orioles fan, and I wore out that cassette tape of the '83 highlights.
Right, don't remind me of that.
You can see the eyes roll behind the sunglasses.
I'll wait till next year.
BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports, contests, and events with first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews and news for every league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all your sports information, from live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head to BetOnline today or use your mobile device to join today and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50 to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's BELIEVE, BLEAV 50. That's BELIEVE, BLEAV 50. Bet online, where the game starts.